Hi everyone, and this is a video called Best Set in the 70s Horror Films, which is horror films set in the decade of the 70s. First up, I'd like to mention that I don't have this on Blu-ray yet, but I did see the movie in the theater when it came out, and of course I'm talking about The Black Phone from summer of this year, based on a story by Joe Hill, which I did read the story from a book that I got of anthology, a book of short stories called 20th Century Ghosts, which he wrote, and the movie's set in 78, where this high school kid gets kidnapped by this killer, and he's locked in this room with this black phone, which supposedly doesn't work except for him, and he hears the voices of the other victims on giving him advice on how to get out, and it's just a pretty good movie. First up is 31, and this is Rob Zombie's 2016 film, and this is set in 76, and it involves these carnival barkers who get held hostage by these maniacal people in clown costumes, and they're forced to play this game of survival, and it's just a pretty good movie. Next up from this year, X, and the movie set in 79, and it's about this small film crew who sets out to make a porno film, and they rent this cabin in Texas, owned by this couple who turns out aren't too kind to their plans, and they start getting killed off, and it's a pretty good throwback to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Eaten Alive with the alligator. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003, and I thought this was a excellent remake. I know this got mixed opinions on it, but I enjoyed it, and I liked the Blair Witch Project opening and ending in this movie, and I liked the different storyline, and it wasn't a shot-by-shot remake like the Psycho remake, and that they also set it in the 70s, and the makers of this movie also did the Amityville Horror remake 2 years later, which they also shot, which was also set in the 70s, which I thought was a good idea. John Carpenter's Christine from 83, and this is based on Stephen King's book, and like the book, the movie is set in 78 with these two high school kids. One of them's kind of an awkward teen who gets bullied, and one day he buys this old 58 Plymouth Fury named Christine, and all of a sudden he starts getting possessed by her, and this is a I read the book, and it is different from the movie, but the movie is pretty good also. And these last two are Rob Zombie films, and this is The Devil's Rejects, and this is the sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, and this is set a year after the events from the first movie with the Firefly family on the run. And I'm not saying it's better than House of a Thousand Corpses, but it's definitely excellent. And also, of course, House of a Thousand Corpses from 2003, and this is Rob Zombie's debut, and the movie is set in 77 on Halloween Eve, with these five kids searching for this legend, and they end up being held captive by this weird family, and I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I mean, the performances are great. I mean, especially Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding, and the other performances are good also. Sherry Moon Zombie as Baby, and Bill Moseley as Otis, and definitely one of the best movies of the 2000s. That's all I have here, and if anybody wants to do a video response, feel free.